Good evening, Larry. Evening, Phil. Can I offer you a beer? You sure you want to be drinking beer? Oh, I took an Uber, so no problems. I was not thinking you would drink and drive. I was thinking of a different problem. Oh. What's that? It is a problem of function follows form. Wait, isn't it the other way around? I have always heard it said that form follows function. Yes, well, in the case of something being designed, then yes, the form is usually comes after the function or use is known. Right. But we are not talking about something designed, at least not in an architecture sort of way. Instead, this is biology, so we presume random chance. In that way it is function follows form. I still don't follow Philippines. In biology, various natural processes interact with random chance to make small changes. Sometimes the changes are better, sometimes they are worse, many times they are simply indifferent. When they are better in a way that improves survival of the organism, and they happen in an area that can be passed on, we call that evolution. What has this got to do with me wanting a beer? Beer has compounds in it called phytoestrogens. Oh, I remember hearing about that all years ago, something about soybeans and estrogen, right? But if soybeans really contained estrogen, wouldn't women who eat lots of soy have, well, bigger breasts? Most women I know who eat lots and lots of soy tend to have smaller breast sizes. Well, that brings up another issue. It so happens that there are at least two families of estrogen receptors in humans. They are called alpha and beta receptors. Okay, and? Well, to keep things very simple, let's say that alpha receptors tend to increase things by stimulating cell growth, and beta receptors tend to put the brakes on proliferation of cell growth. With me? So let me guess, these phytoestrogens you are talking about in soy interact with the beta receptors then? You got it, at least close enough. Turns out they interact with both, and different estrogenic molecules have differing affinities for the different receptors. Genistin, the major one in soybeans, is 30 times more active with respect to beta receptors than alpha receptors. So are you telling me that? No, to have the effect you are thinking about, women would have to eat massive amounts of soybeans, and even more if it were in tofu, which is fermented. But, that brings me back to beer. I was getting worried. Well, you should be worried. As it happens, there is a phytoestrogen in hops, and so in beer, called isoxanthahumol, which is pretty common. Okay, I got this. No, the source of all knowledge says that this isoxanthahumol has, and I quote, limited estrogenic activity. At the concentration found in beer, it is unlikely to have an estrogenic effect in breast tissue, so why the worry? Because it is not the direct action of 9 that is the issue. Remember, function follows form. So if you change the form, the function will also change. Okay. How is the form going to change once it is inside of me though? Well, for one, your liver will change the form as it metabolizes 9 to remove it from your system, but there is something more at play. When studies were done, it turns out our livers cannot process enough of 9 into anything that will have bug effects on men. Wait a minute, didn't you just tell me drinking beer was a problem? Now you are saying it isn't. That is not what I am saying at all. What I am saying is that something other than your liver changes the 9. There are little organisms throughout your digestive tract that help you break down and convert all kinds of things, from neurotransmitters being created to, let me guess, estrogen. Well, not estrogen itself, but a far more potent phytoestrogen than 9 called 8, prenylnaringenin. You guys never name anything simple, do you? Okay, call it 8PN. Well, it turns out the little buggers in your gut are about 100 times more efficient than your liver at converting 9 into 8PN. That's a lot. But phytoestrogens mostly affect the beta cells, right? No, 8PN preferentially binds to the alpha receptors, and while it is not as strong as estrogen itself, it is the single strongest phytoestrogen we know of, hundreds of times stronger than other phytoestrogens. Function follows form again, eh? That right, change the form and you change the function of almost any biological molecule. And, it doesn't end with 8-PN. As the liver breaks down the molecule, it creates new ones that continue to have an estrogenic effect and tend to not get broken down as quickly as the normal estrogen in our systems. So it is not as strong but tends to last longer. Yap, and get stored in fat tissue. So break it down for me. Since 8-PN and its metabolites are estrogenically active, have a long life in the body and an affinity towards alpha receptors, even the amounts found in one beer a day can have effects on men. What kind of effects? Well, one good thing is that it will help you not lose so much of your hair, but you will find that your hips start to widen, your lips become more full, you will find that you start to deposit adipose tissue around the middle. Fat. You will start to get fatter around the middle. And remember, I mentioned that 8-PN and its buddies are more soluble in fat tissue, so the effect becomes multiplicative. Let's not even go into changes that happen in the brain. Wait, I remember in biology they told us that there is a barrier between the brain and the blood to stop things from crossing over. Well, then think of estrogen as the John Edward of molecules then. It can cross over. Not only can it cross over, but it doesn't need any help to do so. It simply diffuses across the blood-brain barrier until both sides have an equal concentration, and that will start to change the way your brain is organized so that it too becomes more feminine. Now, if that is what you are looking for, then by all means have that beer. You did say that this 9 and 8-PN are in hops, right? It is not in the alcohol itself. After all, those alcohol cause liver damage, and you said the liver processes estrogen. No, people used to think that way until someone did a study that showed the feminization occurred in male beer drinkers before liver failure was detectable, and that estrogen clearance was unaffected by early stages of liver failure. Why? Because after you telling me that beer, a drink men have been drinking for thousands of years and has become a symbol of manliness, actually makes me more ladylike. I need a drink, but if it is just hops, that means I can drink anything else, right? No, it is not just hops. Estrogenic compounds are all around us, but yes, beer containing hops is very common and potent enough to make changes. What were you thinking of ordering if you can't have your manly beer? An apleton? At least it will not make you more like a woman, unless that is what you want, and if so, I can recommend a good endocrinologist and plastic surgeon. As for the rest of you beer drinkers, as your form is changed, what will your new function be?